All right. Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but if you can, it would be really cool if you just type in the comments that you can hear me. I just want to make sure this is all working because this is my first live stream that I've ever done. So I just want to make sure that you guys are all getting the feed. And once I have confirmation of that, we can get right into it. So I'm excited to get started. But all right. Thank you for joining me. My name is StarGeek, in case you didn't know, and today I want to answer all of your questions that I can in the amount of time that I'm hoping to get this video done. But before I finish that, I want to also unbox the latest edition of Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty. So I hope that you enjoy this video. I'll get this done really quickly, and then we can get on to all of the comments. So you can hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Low quality video. I know that the video quality is pretty low because I'm trying to figure out the whole live thing, and I have to use Google Hangouts in this case, which wasn't necessarily my top choice, but it's all I have for right now. I'm working on getting OBS set up, but for now, I'm just going to do this as the first one, and I hope you guys enjoy. So we'll get into the questions in a little bit, but until then, let's just get right into opening up the Smuggler's Bounty Hunter Edition from Funko here. I'm excited. I mean, I love opening these boxes. Not everyone is a huge fan of them, but it's fun just to see what's inside, and I hope you guys like them because that's what we're doing for a few minutes here before we get on to the comments. So, all right, let's open this up. There's the box, Boba Fett, Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty. Let's just quickly get into it. All right, here we go. Okay, let's see if we can open this up on camera. Ooh. As always, behold your share of Smuggler's Bounty, if you can see that there. Very cool. So I had a little bit of a theory about this, and I'm not going to do a dab. Just, you can stop asking me about that. I'm not going to do it. I'm so sorry. I had a little bit of a theory on this, and that is that the Boba Fett, or whatever character that they put on the box, on the top of the box, is going to be the character that they put on the patch. And I'm sorry about any of the lag that you guys are picking up. I'll try to be as slow as possible so it doesn't lag as much. So you can see, though, that Boba Fett is on the patch. It says Smuggler's Bounty along the side, and it's got Boba Fett and a Mandalorian symbol. And then over here, if that isn't lagging for you, we have the Bosk pin. So it's a Bosk pin that probably says Smuggler's Bounty along the bottom, too. So that's exciting. The pins and the patches are fun, but they aren't really the main focus of the whole box. What's really the focus of the box, if you open it up, isn't the t-shirt necessarily either, but they have cool t-shirts, don't they? Look at this. What is this? Oh, this is awesome. Okay. I was really excited that this was the Bounty Hunter edition of Smuggler's Bounty because Bounty Hunters are just like the coolest things. I did a whole top 10 list on them a while back, and I'm excited. We have a Bounty Hunter t-shirt with all of the Bounty Hunters from, it looks like all of the Bounty Hunters from Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. That's pretty awesome. That's cool. It has Star Wars Bounty Hunters. It's got Bosk, Boba Fett, IG-88, Forlom, and Zuckuss. No love for Dengar? Is Dengar not on here? That's so sad. He isn't maybe the best of the original 6 bounty hunters, but I mean, gotta give some love for Dengar. That's a cool shirt. I can take it out of the packaging if you guys want in a little bit. But speaking of The Empire Strikes Back, yesterday was the 36th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. It's 36 years since that movie came out. I mean, that is insane. And I'm excited because just a few days from now, on the 25th, is going to be A New Hope's 39th birthday or anniversary. That's exciting. This is so close to 40 years, and that's going to be quite a milestone. So let's look at the pops, the figures that they have here for us to open. And this is looking awesome. Oh my gosh, this is definitely the best Smuggler's Bounty box we've ever gotten. Let's start with a fan favorite, Boba Fett. Look at that. That's cool. I mean, I needed a Boba Fett pop. I don't really collect pops necessarily, but since they've been coming in these Smuggler's Bounty boxes, you have to have a Boba Fett. That is awesome. And he's got his jetpack. Okay, we have to take it out of the package. So there's Boba. You can see Boba. It's got the little Smuggler's Bounty down at the bottom. Boba Pop, he's number 102. And there's the back of the box. Boba Fett blasting away on his jetpack. So he's in like an action pose. Let's see if I can open this. I always cut out the opening up the boxes because it usually takes a little while in the videos that I edit for these unboxings. I don't want to damage the box because I'm a weird collector like that. Oh, here he is. Boba on his jetpacks. Or not on his jetpacks, but wearing his jetpack and shooting up into the Sarlacc pit, maybe. That is awesome. So it's not a traditional stand. You have the little Star Wars logo like they all have, but it still has the this action pose. It doesn't have the little stand that they come off of. That's so cool. That's a really, really cool pop. I'm glad that they're trying some new stuff here. Again, I'm really sorry about the lag. I'll try to not move as much. So there's the Boba Fett pop. I'll move it closer because I know the quality of the video is bad. So that's what the Boba Fett pop looks like from the front and the side. So you can see he's just kind of balancing there on the jetpack spray, the fire, the flames. That's awesome. That's a really cool figure. The next figure I'm a little more excited about because they didn't have a pop of this at all. They have a Boba Fett pop, but not in this action pose. They don't have this next figure until now, obviously. They didn't have this next figure, which is why I'm excited to look at IG-88. That is an awesome pop. That's so cool. I was worried about how they were going to do this because he's such a thin character. That I'm glad that IG-88 is what they included here. So let's see if I can get this in there. I know the lag is bad. I'm going to keep commenting on that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Just testing out the live stream for the first time. I mean, this is new for me. So there's IG-88 though. That's awesome. Let's open it up. There's the side. I love the artwork on these boxes. I like everything Star Wars. It's going to be really hard not to please me if I have a Star Wars item anything. So Smuggler's Bounty in my mind. Some people say that about sponsorships, I don't want to just take anything. I want to take the things that I am actually interested in when I review them for you guys or open them in these unboxings because I don't want to just sell out to get free stuff. I want to show off the stuff that is actually really cool for you guys and show you why I think that this is worth buying. And Funko is just a really cool company. I don't want you to think that I'm like just doing this because, oh, I'm getting this for free. But I think that this product is really good. And when they have characters like this, like IG-88, if we can get them out carefully without destroying the box, it's worth it. And I'm gonna once this series is done, I'll probably slow down a little bit on the unboxings, unless you guys really like them. I mean, there are enough people who are showing up here. But if you guys want more unboxings, I'll do more, but that's all up to you. Okay. I'm trying to stick with the normal formula videos, but I'll take suggestions for anything. Ooh, gotta be careful. You're not careful, because this guy is thin. Okay. I'm gonna put that down to the side for a moment. And here we have IG-88. That is awesome. I mean, I'm really, really surprised that they're able to actually even get that up there. That's cool. This thin figure, because all the pops are very stubby, so this is cool. The spam. You don't need to put spam in the comments. It's okay. It's all good. Just look at the IG-8 figure. Isn't he cool, IG-88? Yeah. Let's think about that. So that's what came in the box. I guess we can really quickly look at them all. Yes. By the way, Brawl 12 Seattle is epic. I love living here. Totally unrelated. I just love Seattle so much that I might as well comment on it. So let's look at what we got in the box here. I'll put the box down, but if you want to see the cover one more time, without showing you my mailing info, if I can do this, whoops, that would be a mistake. First, that would be bad. We have the pin, the Boba Fett patch, the Bosk pin, and then if we go over here, we have the T-shirt. Let's take this out of the plastic packaging. There's tape and stuff. All right. And you can order these boxes at smugglersbounty.com. I think that it only ships to Canada and the U.S., which I'm sorry about that if you live in the U.K. or anywhere else in Europe or anywhere in the world. It's worth getting it though if you can get this. I mean, I think it's cool, and I like T-shirts a lot. The T-shirts are really one of the biggest pluses for me, because T-shirts are just awesome. I mean, I love Star Wars T-shirts. I'm wearing, what am I wearing now? I'm wearing a Vader is Coming Look Busy T-shirt. So you know, I always love getting more T-shirts, and it has all their names and images. That's a cool T-shirt. I'm excited about that. So last thing before we get into the Q&A, because I see you're all really excited to ask me some questions apparently. IG-88, Boba Fett. Those are two really cool pops. Like if I had to ask for two pops that I don't have already that I'm missing, it would be these two characters. So I'm really excited that these two characters, they finally made it. Well, they've always had Boba Fett, but they finally made an IG-88, and now they have this awesome-looking exclusive Boba Fett with the jetpack. That's awesome. These are just really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the unboxing portion of this video, but I want to get into some of your comments. I see that a lot of you are asking about the stuff behind me, and I want to do a collection tour at some point, and that's only a little bit of it. But right now, I want to keep this video mostly centered around the Q&A. So if you have your questions, go ahead and ask. I'll start looking a little bit closer at the comments to answer and see what I can. So Bobby Granquist, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but you were saying your comment just disappeared. It said best Star Wars game. The best Star Wars game is, that's a difficult one. I made a video a long time ago that I said Knights of the Old Republic 2 was the best Star Wars game, and it's the video, the way that I word all the commentary in the video is a little confusing. It's not my best quality content on the channel, so I wouldn't necessarily rely on that for the best information on my personal opinion. But I mean, Knights of the Old Republic 2 is a really good one. Battlefront is just, I really love Battlefront. And I've been playing a lot of the Super Star Wars for SNES. I love that game. It's really hard, but it's always fun. So, I mean, Star Wars games are all fun. As long as it's Star Wars, I like it. That's just how I operate, really. But no, there are a lot of really, really fun Star Wars games out there. It's really up to you. But I don't know. I'd say right now my favorite, maybe not overall, but right now my favorite is definitely Super Star Wars for the SNES. So I hope that answers that question. How old am I? Says a few people. I am 16. I turned 16 in February. But the thing about age on YouTube specifically, it's not really. I don't think it's really a factor that should come into play when you're actually talking about the content of the channel or how the viewer or the content creator represents themselves. Age is just really a number that, I mean, maturity sometimes comes with age and knowledge, but I think that for what I'm doing, I am knowledgeable enough and mature enough to work on the content that I have and present it to you at the highest caliber that I can. And I hope that age doesn't affect that in any way. But I mean, I understand the whole age question. It's all good. I noticed you, Mine Club. I got your comments, so there you go. Do I want to review the Clone Wars? I do want to review the Clone Wars at some point. The Clone Wars was. Here's my opinion of the Clone Wars. Well, in the first season, I really struggled getting through that first season. That was the biggest difficulty for me. Just having to make it all the way through. Like, I really hated Ahsoka in the first season. The animation wasn't that great. Just the story wasn't fun. Season 2 was kind of the same. Season 3 was a little bit better. But season 4, 5, and 6 were all like I really loved that series after that point. So if you're reluctant about watching the Clone Wars because it's a cartoon, don't let that hold you back, because it's a really good series once you get into it. The characters are better. The animation gets much better as it goes on. And I'd say it's better than Rebels, but Rebels is getting a lot better too. Season 2 of Rebels was amazing too. So, I mean, do I want to review the Clone Wars, like all of the episodes? Probably not, because I don't think I could add enough commentary onto it. Maybe select episodes. I might choose select episodes that I either hate or really like and talk in detail about them. So we'll see in the future. I want to do a lot more reviews like of the movies and things, but we'll see how that goes. Galen Marek. I know it's an expanded universe character. I think it might be Jalen Marek. I talked about this in my last video on pronunciation and spelling of Star Wars character names. He asked, I'm so sorry if I pronounce it wrong. I read it all the time, but I just have never said it out loud. So they ask, what is my favorite pop so far? My favorite pop that they've ever made is probably this guy here, just because, you know, C-3PO collector. But out of the ones I've gotten in the Smuggler's Bounty boxes, it's got to be IG-88. I mean, the Boba Fett is really cool too. You're making me hold so many pops up. These are all really awesome, awesome figures. I don't know what I'm doing with my throat here. But the other one that's really cool is this furry Chewbacca, like this fuzzy Chewbacca. I mean, they have so many pops out now. I can't really keep track of them all. But of the ones I have, those are probably my favorite ones that I've got there. So let's see. Who do you think would win, Darth Jar Jar or Darth C-3PO? I want to make a video on the Darth Jar Jar theory. Who would win, Darth Jar Jar or Darth C-3PO? Well, I had a kind of a mini character in a few episodes called Sith 3PO. Sith 3PO would probably beat Jar Jar just because, you know, C-3PO. I can't really comment on that. Darth Jar Jar. I want to talk about that if there's interest still, because it's been months since the theory came out. There are like literally hundreds of videos on YouTube all about it. So if I have something new to add, I might make a video on it. And if you guys are interested in a video on Darth Jar Jar, I'll make that. But otherwise, Darth Jar Jar is probably under the radar a little bit for now. So that is where I stand on that. How did C-3PO get the red arm? Asks Haley Garcia. C-3PO got the red arm in a comic book series, or in a, not a series, but a one-off comic book series. They explain it all. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a C-3PO comic book that came out last month, I think, and it explains it all there. You should get it. If you don't get it, there are YouTube videos explaining what happens and stuff. I don't want to spoil it, though, so that's you should look into that there. Let's see. Where do I live? I don't want to give any specifics on that, but like I said earlier, Seattle is an awesome city, and that's where I'm living. Seattle is a great place. You should, if you want to visit somewhere in the world, Seattle is an awesome city, especially for Star Wars fans. We have like the second highest percentage of Star Wars fans on Earth or something like that, something crazy, based on Twitter posts or something, some weird thing like that. It's not an actual count. But Seattle is a geek city, so if you want to come to Seattle just for the geekiness, it's worth it. All right, let's see. Let's find a good comment. Good question. Do you think that Luke is Rey's father? I did a whole video on this. I think that Luke is Rey's father. I do think, well, I thought that Luke was Rey's father. I'm almost thinking that they're going to go the path of her not being related to anyone, because it would be something fresh, and it wouldn't. I don't know, the idea that everyone in Star Wars just magically bumps into each other. It just seems a little far-fetched to me. I mean, it's Star Wars. It's already far-fetched. Like, nothing makes sense, really, but science-wise or logic-wise. But just Luke being Rey's father is a little bit too coincidental, I think. I'd still be fine with it, because that's kind of following the Skywalker arc, like George Lucas has always set up. But I know that it would be something way different if they had her unconnected. It would be cool. I actually did a podcast with the Super Awesome Geek Show, Chris Perillo, Christina Pryor. Oh, who are the other people? There was an author on. You can go check that out on the Super Awesome Geek Show podcast. And I talk about Rogue One theories like I did with Chris Perillo a while back too. And on there we talk a little bit about this topic. But you can go check that out on the Super Awesome Geek Show. All right, let's see. Who's my favorite clone? That's a good question. So I haven't seen the Clone Wars in a while. So the clones, I remember I've made a few videos on the channel where I say like the clones have no personality or something like that, which definitely isn't true if you've seen the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars really establishes who the clones are and how they relate in the universe. They have much more character than just like being a clone of Jango Fett. They're really interesting characters when you really get into the Clone Wars and you see these characters develop over the series. I mean, Captain Rex is probably my favorite. I mean, it's Captain Rex. You can't really beat him. Wolf is cool. Cody's okay. He's pretty cool. I like the Domino Squad. I think that's called. That's what they're called. The Domino Squad is really cool. I keep saying cool, but I mean they're cool. No, they're all really awesome characters. The clones got like surprisingly, they're probably my favorite part of the whole series. So that's cool. What do you guys? What are your favorite clones? You can tell me in the comments here while I'm searching for another question to answer. Who's my all-time favorite Sith? All-time favorite Sith would be Darth Vader. The definition of Sith is a little bit foggy for some people. As far as I'm concerned, Darth Vader's a Sith, but I've heard otherwise. So Darth Vader is my favorite Sith. I've done a top 10 villains list where you can go check that out. Echo, Fives, all of those people are really good clones. Going back to the other comments, sorry, I don't want to push this one way, but Fives and Echo are probably the two best from the Domino Squad for the clones. Anyways, all right, let's see. Ahsoka versus Vader thoughts. So in, I don't want to spoil this really. Let's skip that one for now. If you want me to talk a little bit more in depth, I don't want to spoil Rebels because it's kind of new and it hasn't been out that long, and I spoiled something in the first season in my top 10 villains list. If you go to the top 10 villains list, be careful if you haven't seen Rebels because there's a big spoiler and I didn't put an alert. And I feel terrible about it and people keep calling me out on that, so I'm sorry now. But I don't want to spoil it for anyone right now. But maybe in a little bit we can talk about that when season 3 starts or something like that. Okay. Opinions of Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, asks Erica M. Opinions of Ewoks. Ewoks, I never hated Ewoks. I put them in the worst characters list, and people got a little confused why I did that. When I put Ewoks in the worst characters list, which is a super controversial episode, but when I put them as a runner-up in the worst characters list, I was talking about the cartoon characters from the 1986 cartoon Ewoks, not the ones from the movie, because the ones from the movie are much different than the ones from the cartoon, where the cartoon they had really bad personalities. Like, it was just, oh gosh, the cartoon was really bad. In the movies, they seemed like a little bit of a cash grab from Lucas. They seemed like they were there to please the kids, but they're okay. I like the idea of a race that was very technologically disabled, winning over a giant army that is just a huge army with all the power in the world. I just think that's a cool idea. Was it executed the best it could have been? No. Like a little rock hitting a stormtrooper in the head and he's dead. Not the best idea. Overall, though, Ewoks are fine. I don't like the Ewoks movies or the Ewoks cartoon that much, but in the movie, in Return of the Jedi, Ewoks are good by me. I built an Ewok. I'm part of the Ewok Builders Club, where you build Ewoks, and I brought it to Emerald City Comic Con to bring it around. But yeah, that's what happens when you get in Seattle. You meet people who build Ewoks, so that's the thing. Okay, excuse me a second while I cough. I've been talking a lot without any water. I should have thought of bringing water up here. So excuse me just a second. I can probably mute this really quick. All right, I think I'm good. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, cool. Would I prefer a lightsaber or a blaster, asks Diego Quidad Real. I hope I pronounced your name right, probably not. Lightsaber or blaster? In my Han versus Luke episode, in the Versus series, which is not a very popular series, unfortunately. People keep asking me to do more Versus episodes, but it got so much hate. Like, the Han and Luke episode is almost half and half likes to dislikes, because that's what you do. When you put one character up against another, it's basically split. and the people who agree with your choice like it, and the people who don't agree with it dislike it. So that series hasn't fared well for me. In that series, I said that a blaster beat a lightsaber in a certain circumstance. I wasn't saying overall, because overall a lightsaber is much better than a blaster. Not exactly in the same way, because a blaster could be used for much different reasons, like long range. But you know, let me just reach out and grab my magical cup of water. That way I don't cough anymore. Thank you, 3PO, for bringing that to me. And then, so blaster is good for long range, and I think I'd be honestly more comfortable with a blaster probably. Not like I'd even pick up one of these weapons anyways. I'd probably just like surrender to the Empire. But lightsabers seem like a lot of responsibility, and I'd probably just like drop it on my foot and cut my foot off, and that wouldn't be fun. So lightsabers are better. They're more unique to the Star Wars universe. They're more interesting. But they're still you know, I mean, lightsabers are like this icon of Star Wars. One of the icons of Star Wars. There are many icons of Star Wars, but lightsaber gotta be a blaster. So that's that. What would I choose, dark side or light side? Says the Spirit of Death. Well, Spirit of Death, I'd choose neither side probably. Because they both have their pros and cons. They all have flaws, but I mean, I'd probably have to stick with the light side. I think the dark side, honestly, is cooler. Like, the dark side has better, or not better necessarily, but more interesting, not more interesting characters necessarily either. They're just seem more powerful. They just seem more menacing and more intense than the Jedi, which are there, and they're just kind of like warrior guys, and then the Sith are like this powerful being. I'd probably pick the light side just because, I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, all those guys are really awesome characters. They're some of the best characters that the series gave us. And, I mean, light side overall is probably not as good as dark side, but, I mean, I have to go with light side. That's just me, though. All right. Opinions on Rey Fett. Rey Fett. I mean, do I think that Boba Fett died in the Sarlacc pit, like shooting into the Sarlacc pit? No, because according to George Lucas, and I think Lucasfilm, I'm not exactly sure about Lucasfilm, but according to George Lucas, even though he doesn't really run the whole thing anymore, Boba Fett survived. And I'll take that, the word of the creator, the maker himself, over that of the whatever company, I guess. But the company has the final say. So hopefully they agree. But Boba Fett, Rey Fett, that's an interesting one. I don't really see Boba Fett having kids, I guess. But leaving her on Jakku, her being so force sensitive, I don't think really fits with Boba Fett being a clone. So I just don't think that that's the right theory. But I mean, it's an interesting one, and I wouldn't necessarily be against it. The mother would just have to be like a super force-sensitive Jedi. And also, you don't have to have force-sensitive parents in the Star Wars universe to actually be a Jedi or a force-sensitive being. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're from a force-sensitive family, but Rey being so force-sensitive leans towards Luke a little bit more. But we'll see how that works out. I just want to let it play out and see how they answer in Episode 8 or Episode 9 if they wait that long. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to spoil anything, I promise you. Okay. Let's see if I can find a good comment. Good question. What do you think of the casting choice of the Han Solo anthology movie? Says Joey Hillenbrand. Well, I wasn't necessarily super happy. I don't remember the name of the guy that they picked. But it wasn't who I wanted. It wasn't the Han Solo impersonator. Oh, what was his name? Anthony and Gruber. And it wasn't Aaron Reich, whatever his first name was. I am forgetting the names of these guys quickly. But they chose let me look it up. I can't just give you no information on this. Okay. Han Solo anthology. Let's see. It's not really saying. Okay. I have faith in the directors. I have faith in the writers. I don't really have faith in the acting, not necessarily because the actor is bad, even though I can't find his name anywhere, or really know anything by that actor. But the thing about Han Solo is that Harrison Ford is Han Solo. You can't really change that for me. And trying to tell me that someone else is Han Solo, even if it is at a younger age, switching the actor out like that just doesn't really work for me. And I don't think that I'm going to like the movie as much as I would if it was played by Harrison Ford, which is obviously impossible because he's in his 70s now. So that's unfortunate. But, you know, I'll wait until the movie to give, like, harsh opinions. But right now I don't have a ton of faith in it. And the casting choice wasn't my favorite. So that's that. But we'll see how it all works. So, where do you rank Episode 7? Says Diamond Bot Rules. Episode 7. So how I rank the movies, I've been asked a lot too, so I might as well answer that. From best to worst, like if the screen here is the scale, like up here is the best and down here is the worst, it would be like Empire and then A New Hope and okay, that was probably too big of a jump. Empire, A New Hope, Jedi, Force Awakens, Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. That's probably distance-wise how much more I like each film than the other one. I know that it's probably lagging, so you can't tell, but it's Episode 5, Episode 4, Episode 6, Episode 7, Episode 3, Episode 1, and Episode 2. That's the order I have all my films. So there's that. Grievous thoughts, please, 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 please. All right then. Eyebrow 12. Grievous thoughts. General Grievous is a character that it seems to be very controversial for some people. It splits a lot of people down the middle. I'm surprised, actually, because I didn't think that Grievous was that bad of a character. He was interesting. I always liked his design, and I kind of grew up with him in that time. I grew up with the original trilogy. If you can't tell, I mean, there isn't that much prequel stuff. I'm not sure there's any prequel stuff on these shelves. Actually, I do have the prized possession in the whole collection of prequel figures, Jar Jar Binks, of course. You gotta have a Jar Jar Binks, right? Everyone's favorite. I don't even know why I have that up there. So I didn't grow up with the prequels really, but General Grievous was one of the, even though I grew up in that time period where the prequels were big, I didn't grow up with them in the household or in public or in school or anything. It was all about the original trilogy, or at least the characters that were in both movies, like C-3PO and R2-D2, or you know, the big characters like Darth Vader. I knew all those characters. I knew all the original trilogy characters, and I kind of knew the prequel stuff. So when it comes to General Grievous, I kind of grew up with him, but he wasn't like he wasn't up there with the Star Wars characters for me. He was like a Star Wars character, air quotes there. But I think he's cool. I mean, is his character kind of pointless? Kind of. Is he really cowardly in the Clone Wars? Definitely. He's kind of terrible in the Clone Wars, actually. I think he's good. He's good in the movie, and he is really awesome, actually, in the Clone Wars 2003. The 2003 Clone Wars and cartoon animated like mini shorts. So that's really cool. Grievous is a character that kind of is a mixed bag. I mean, it depends on which Grievous you're looking at. So all different types of opinions on Grievous there. Or Grievous. Don't say Grievous. I made that mistake right there. Don't say Grievous. It's Grievous. All right. What are my thoughts on the Rebels show? What to guess for it in the future, says Dylan Rebelosa. Well, Mr. Rebelosa, Rebels, I didn't like the first season that much. The first season was boring, and they were on the same planet, and I didn't like Ezra, and I didn't like Sabine, and I didn't like Kanan, and I didn't really like Hera that much, and Chopper was annoying, and Zeb was kind of okay, I guess, but he was still kind of annoying too. I didn't really like anything about the first season until it started picking up. Like halfway through, I was like, this is okay. It's not a good show, but it's like it's passable as a Star Wars show. But then near the end, it like really picked up, and Vader appeared, and it became. I think the season finale of season 1 was actually pretty good, And then season 2 picked up, and it is really, really, like, it's a really good show now. I'm excited for season 3. Every Wednesday, I get excited to watch Rebels, which I wasn't excited for season 1. I had to go back and watch season 1 after it had all come out on Netflix or something when I was in Sweden for a little bit. I watched that there because I wasn't interested in Rebels, but then when I'd seen the first season and I knew the second season was coming out, I was anticipating each and every episode that came out after that, and it's a good series. If you haven't seen it, you should try to go back and watch it somehow. It's worth it. I think it's good. Where it's going in the future, I'm excited. After that finale, if you haven't seen the finale, you have to see the finale of Rebels Season 2. They could take it so many different directions with so many different things. I'm excited just to see how it works out, but I don't really want to speculate too much. Who's my favorite droid? Asks left-handed Spinjitzu Master. My favorite droid. So my favorite type of droid or my favorite personality droid, like actual droid? Because if you were talking about droid characters, it would be C-3PO. Followed by R2-D2 and probably BB-8 after that. But those are really the 3 main characters that we get really developed in the movies. If we're talking about types of droid, astromech is really probably the coolest type of droid, because protocol droids are basically just humanoid like robot guys, and they're okay. The design, I really like the design actually of protocols, like a lot. But in terms of Star Warsiness, astromechs I think are probably a little bit better, honestly. More people recognize them as being from Star Wars, and R2-D2, everyone loves R2-D2. So astromech droids are probably the coolest, but of course there's also the Gonk droid. Don't want to upset Gary in case he watches this live stream back or if he's in the comments now. I don't think he's in the comments yet. Okay, I'm gonna hope that he didn't hear that I said astromech droids are the best. Gonk droids are the best, everyone. Gonk droids are just the best. They just waddle around and they gonk. They're so good. They're just great. Cool. Lol M2 Corey Baxter asks, do you like Alec Guinness or Ewan McGregor better as Obi-Wan? I love them both, and Obi-Wan is my favorite character, but I like McGregor's a little bit more. That is a really, really hard question, because in the original trilogy, if you really watch it back, Obi-Wan wasn't really in the movies that much. He was in episode 4 for most of it, and then he died. And then he was in episode 5 as a little blue guy, a little shadowy guy, and then in episode 6 for even a little bit more time than episode 5. But episode 5 was like just a small cameo appearance, and episode 6 was like one scene he was there. Alec Guinness is like the Obi-Wan that I remember the most, but Ewan McGregor is honestly, I think he's the better Obi-Wan. I think like he is probably the better Obi-Wan Kenobi, because in the prequel trilogy, if there was like one amazing part that I thought there was almost nothing wrong, was Obi-Wan Kenobi in those movies. It would always be interesting watching Ewan McGregor's performance, especially in episode 3. Episode 1, Ewan McGregor was okay, and he stayed on like the ship for most of the movie. He didn't do that much. So in episode 1, it was kind of eh. Episode 2, he was like flying all over the place, and we didn't really get to know him that well. I mean, he was basically just on a mission looking for one guy, which was interesting, I guess. But episode 2 is just a jumbled mess, I think. I'm sorry, episode 2 fans. I just don't like episode 2. Episode 1 I'll watch again. Like if you said you want to watch episode 1, why not? Do you want to watch episode 2? Not really. I don't really want to ruin my day. It's just so long. But I mean, I like it. It's a Star Wars movie. And I like the characters, and there are things that I like about it. I think the imagery in that movie is good. But not my favorite. It's not my favorite. But what was the question? Obi-Wan Kenobi. In episode 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi was by far the best part. Everything about Ewan McGregor in episode 3 was just, I thought it was perfect. So I think Obi-Wan in the prequels is better than Obi-Wan in the originals. So there's that. I know I'll probably change that at some point, but we'll see. What is the best canon book? Canon book. They really just made the new books all canon all the old books, all these old EU books that I have on the shelf down here aren't. And all these comic books that you see off to the bottom left of the screen, is that what it looks like for you guys? Bottom right of the screen. That you can see off to the bottom right of the screen. They are all non-canon, which is sad. For the most part. I do have, I have quite a few, actually, of the new Marvel. And if I had to say the best book, I'd probably say just the series of Darth Vader comics is the best book. Or the C-3PO comic book. I thought the C-3PO comic book was really good, but I'm a 3PO fan, so I'm probably a little bit biased there. I tried to read Aftermath, and I got through the first chapter and thought it was so boring. I thought the very beginning was really interesting, like them tearing down the Palpatine statue. Like, they're taking down the Palpatine statue on Coruscant, and people are getting arrested. But then, like, it's like Wedge, it was Wedge in his X-Wing, like, floating over some planet, and it just wasn't for me. But I can't really tell you. I haven't read them. I've read the comic books mostly, but not the books that much. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. Who is your least favorite Star Wars character? I don't know if I want to answer that because I made a video on it and everyone hated that video. So, favorite or least favorite Star Wars character? I mostly like all the Star Wars characters, and I held up the Jar Jar Binks figure jokingly. He's a bad. He's not a good character. If you're a Jar Jar fan, that's cool. I mean, I get the appeal, maybe, but it's Jar Jar Binks is really there for childish comic relief. He's there for it's very interesting how Jar Jar Binks has made his way into the Star Wars movies as such a hated character. He's not that bad. Is he bad? Yeah, but he's not as bad as people make him out to be. They make him out to be this like terrible, disgusting thing. But I thought his design was kind of cool. His voice was annoying. I get that. I mean, most of his scenes were all childish. But they toned him down a lot for the other two movies, which was nice. He's in like one scene in episode 3, and he's barely in episode 2 at all. So, I mean, they listened to the fans at least. But Jar Jar Binks is not my least favorite character because he just didn't annoy me that much. It's probably the fact that I grew up in the prequel era, even though I didn't grow up with the prequels. But I knew Jar Jar Binks that I didn't like find him funny. But he didn't annoy me. He was like, Jar Jar Binks. You know, it's Jar Jar Binks. Everyone knows Jar Jar Binks. He's okay. And then it suddenly became everything is just terrible with Jar Jar Binks. Like, everyone hates Jar Jar Binks. And I don't remember ever really thinking that when I was younger. But not a good character. Not the worst character. I say that the worst character is I call him Baby Boba Fett, but it's just young Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones. Because not necessarily from the Clone Wars. See, can you do that? Can you just take a part of a character? Because I like Boba Fett. Because he's just mysterious and he's just kind of there in the background. But I don't like little Boba Fett. Because he's just weird and I don't like his... I don't think it's really a valid complaint to say, like, a character's annoying or pointless. But not George Lucas. Baby Boba Fett was annoying and pointless. And I didn't think he needed to be in there. I thought it was just to get money. Jango Fett was the same way, but Jango Fett was actually kind of a cool character, kinda. So Jango Fett and Baby Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones were just cash grabs, really. Boba Fett was popular, so let's just make a clone of Boba Fett and then make Boba Fett a clone, and that's how we'll get money. Which was, I don't think is the best plan there. They made money. Let's say that. They made their money back. But Baby Boba Fett, I just don't like Baby Boba Fett. I understand why, like, it's not really rational. It's not really a rational hate for Baby Boba Fett. And Daniel Logan is actually a really cool guy. If you've seen some of his interviews online, like, he seems nice, but I didn't like his character in Attack of the Clones. That was just not good. All right. Favorite vehicle, please, please, please. Lots of pleases. I guess if you put please a bunch, don't do that. If you put please, I'm not going to read your comment anymore. At least if you spam it. I'm not going to answer the spam comments, but they ask favorite vehicle ? Favorite vehicle. is favorite vehicle. Millennium Falcon. It's the Millennium Falcon. I mean, I can't really. Ooh, do you see that shine on my face? I might have to close the blind in a sec, or the curtain. But what was I talking about? Favorite vehicle. Millennium Falcon is the best vehicle, I think. Do I have anything Millennium Falcon over here? I have a Millennium Falcon hanging up over there. I don't have a lot of Millennium Falcon stuff. I have a little Millennium Falcon here. But everything, there's Millennium Falcon, like the lightsaber or like Darth Vader, is like one of those icons of Star Wars that I have just always really liked. I like the AT-ATs a lot too. Look at that shine, that's annoying. I'm gonna close the blinds really quickly. I'm not leaving forever. Did that fix the problem? Nope, it's still there. Oh well, I'm not gonna deal with it any more than that. So, no, favorite vehicle. Millennium Falcon is probably the best, my favorite vehicle. My favorite type of vehicle might be the AT-AT. So, yeah, I just like the AT-AT, or the AT-AT. Yeah, I think those are probably my favorite types of vehicles. Yeah, that's that question. I'll do a few more questions here, but I'm gonna have to wrap up probably in about 15 minutes. So, ask the question that you really want to get out. So, I'll just answer the next question that comes up. Well, it's going so quickly. Okay. What character would you want to be? What character would I want to be? I mean, I've thought about this, I guess, before. People have asked me, but I never really put a ton of thought into it. I'm going to turn the light on 1 sec. I'm not sure if that did anything, but it made the shine worse. I've never really thought about it too deeply. My favorite character being C-3PO, which is a weird favorite character, I understand, but my favorite character is C-3PO, and I don't think I'd want to be him because he's kind of freaking out all the time and he's out of his place and he just doesn't feel comfortable anywhere, and I don't think that'll be fun to be a character who doesn't feel comfortable. Geez, that's a hard question. Maybe Han Solo. Like, Han Solo is just a cool character. He's always fun, and I just think like the little adventures he goes on would be fun. I mean, dangerous and crazy, but you know, still fun. Just being Han Solo would be cool. I mean, Solo. It's got to be Solo. In fact, someone just said, "Gotta be Solo." Exactly. Okay. Dengar or IG-88? IG-88. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I did a top 10 bounty hunters list. What was it? It was probably around 2nd grade, maybe not exactly 2nd grade, but I dressed up as IG-88 for Halloween. So there's that. IG-88 has always been one of my favorite characters. But I didn't put him at the top on my list. You just gotta check it out. So I'll explain that there. All right. Wookiee or Ewok? Wookiees. I like Ewoks, but it's a Wookiee. Chewbacca. The battle on Kashyyyk wasn't as impactful for me as the battle on Endor was, just because there was so much going on. But it was probably a cooler battle anyways. So, you know, Chewbacca is just, you know, it's Chewbacca. Gotta love Chewbacca. And then Wookiees are all really cool. So Ewoks, for the most part, are good, but Wookiees are awesome. Okay. Yeah, the Bounty Hunter shirt, they left off Dengar. I'm a little bit surprised about that, actually, because I mean, it's got all of the most of the main 6 bounty hunters on the bridge of the Executor in episode 5, but they left off Dengar. I mean, Dengar has been mocked as being toilet paper head, and no one likes Dengar because it's Dengar. He's got a weird name, and it's toilet paper head, and no one thinks he looks that cool. But Dengar was cool in his mysterious ways, and if you read the expanded universe, he actually had a pretty cool backstory. In the Clone Wars, he was okay. Dengar's not as bad as people think. But, I mean, I don't think he looks as good as on a t-shirt as all those other guys do. So, that's that, though. Emperor versus Snoke. When I was watching The Force Awakens for the first time in the theater, and it was all these emotions because it was such a big movie, and everyone had anticipated it for so long, and I was getting excited for The Force Awakens, I was sitting there in the theater, and then Snoke comes on, and I was immediately losing hope in The Force Awakens because it was Snoke, and he looked like a giant, bald, creepy man, and I was very worried that they were going to have this giant guy try to replace the Emperor. When the dust came through and it turned out he was a hologram, I was very happy. Hopefully he's more regular sized, maybe even like this big, so that he's not like a giant, because being a giant would just be a little bit too insane for me. But overall, I mean, the Emperor is just better because we know more about the Emperor so far. I can't really say because we don't know enough about Snoke yet. There are a ton of theories about Snoke, like is Snoke Ezra? Is Snoke Plagueis? Is Snoke the Emperor? Which I might talk about those at some point. But I mean, the Emperor is just fleshed out more, and the Emperor is a really cool character. One of the best villains, I think. People were arguing over my placement of him in the top 10 villains list, but I mean, he's one of the greatest movie villains of all time. That's just my opinion, though. So let's see. All right. Let's find a good one, because I want to wrap it up pretty soon. I want to find a really good question here. How about, people ask me this a lot. If you were to have a lightsaber, which design and color would you have? I think I've talked about this. I have a couple Q&A videos on the channel. I'm trying not to answer questions I've already answered on those videos. But you can look at those once you're done here if your question didn't get answered, and they might be in there, maybe. Lightsaber design. Color would I like blue a lot. But the color would probably have to be green. I just like the idea of a green lightsaber. I don't know why. They only made it green because that's how it had to look, because against the sky of southern Arizona or southern California near the Mexican border. It's somewhere around there. I went there to that location, and I don't even know where it is because there's so much controversy around where it is, but I dug there, and I found pieces of the Sarlacc pit, and I want to make a video on it, but I want to know the right time to do it. So if you guys are interested in that, I have pieces of the Sarlacc pit. But that's another topic for another day. They made his lightsaber green because it just needed to stand out against the blue sky. But it became a thing for green lightsaber to exist, and then blue and red and purple. So you can probably basically have any color lightsaber. The original Kenner toys had yellow lightsabers for Luke, which is interesting. But it would probably be a green lightsaber with Obi-Wan Kenobi style hilt. I really like Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber design, but that's just me. I've talked about this a little bit before, so that's cool. All right, which alien species would I be? Says Lord Cat Vader. Lord Cat Vader. I would probably be an Ithorian, I guess. I really like the Ithorian species. It's just that they look like they'd be very slow getting around everywhere. Like they're these big guys. Like in the Clone Wars, they had Ithorian bounty hunters, and they died off pretty quickly in one episode because they're so slow and big. But I really like the design of Ithorians. I like the design of Muftak. I don't know his species, but Muftak from the Cantina that's a cool alien species. And then Rhodians are really awesome. Wookiees are cool, but I wouldn't want to be a Wookiee. I guess it would be an Ithorian. I guess. I mean, I've thought about this a little bit, but not a lot in detail, because I don't just sit and think like, what if I was an Ithorian for a day? But no, Ithorian would probably be a cool species. What is my favorite Star Wars toy? I have no idea. If you can't tell, I have all of these collectibles, aka Star Wars toys. But I mean, I don't really have a favorite. There's this really they came out with a pack recently. As I scoot out of frame, they came out with a pack recently of C-3PO, BB-8, and what's the other character's name? It's something weird. Something not from the movies, or he is from the movies, but not one that you really know or anything or get to know. So this guy, and this guy all came in the same pack, and I think this is my favorite C-3PO figure. It's a 12-inch, or near 12-inch, not exactly 12 inches, but close to 12-inch figure. It's probably my favorite C-3PO that they've ever done. I think the sculpt looks really nice and pretty accurate to the movie. on camera it doesn't look as good as in person, but in person this thing looks almost like you have the character in your hand. Much better than the ones that they did in the 90s. If we look at those, as I scoot out of frame again, we can see that while these are chrome, they aren't really as accurate to the movie. I just stripped the whole shelf. That was terrifying. Having to put all that stuff back up is not fun. So this is probably my favorite figure, but these are both really cool. Of course, it's going to be a C-3PO thing. But yeah, I like favorite Star Wars toy. I mean, I guess I'll go with this just for now. There's so many toys to talk about that I don't really even have something I can talk about there for now. But this is a placeholder for there. What is your favorite band? Asks Captain Fish. My favorite band is one from the early 2000s called The Killers. I just started listening to their music a lot, and I really like their music. It's not like the type of music that I really like, but I really like their songs. Like the style of music, I'm gonna put these down for now. The style of music isn't the traditional style of music that I would probably listen to, but that music is really good. And I grew up with the Killers. My dad really liked the Killers, so I listened to their music a lot when I was growing up. So I know like all their big hits. So yeah, the Killers. If you are interested in what kind of music I like, you should look up, what is it? Mr. Brightside is good. That's one of their bigger ones. Somebody Told Me. One of my favorites is All These Things That I've Done. Those are all good songs. They have tons of good songs. Their Christmas songs, their holiday songs are really cool, especially Great Big Sled. They're famous for their holiday songs that they do for charity, which is all cool. So that's a band. Let's see. Would I rather be a Hutt or a Gungan? A Gungan, because a Hutt is just a giant slug, and a giant slug isn't necessarily something that I want to be ever. I'd rather be a Jar Jar Binks guy. I'd rather be Jar Jar Binks himself than Jabba the Hutt, because actually I don't know if I can say that. If it was just me as a Hutt, I would hate that. If it was me as a Gungan, I could probably tolerate that. If I had to choose between Jar Jar Binks being Jar Jar Binks or being Jabba the Hutt, it would probably have to be, I'd want to be Jabba the Hutt, because he's like royalty. He's like this Hutt crime lord, so everyone looks after him in his palace. He has a palace. He's got all these henchmen. So Jabba the Hutt, I'd rather be Jabba the Hutt, but I'd rather be a Gungan if it was just me as a Gungan. Weird answer to a simple question. Kylo or Maul? Asks Kyler Pitts. Kylo or Maul? I didn't think about that really, because I know Maul is a cool character. He's a cool character. If you watch the Clone Wars, I know that he wasn't very fleshed out in the Phantom Menace, but if you watch the Clone Wars, Maul is a really cool character. And Kylo, I thought, was a lot better than people say that Kylo is. In the movie, they were disappointed when he took off his mask. I was like, okay, he's just a regular guy. I mean, that's fine. They're trying to, this is Han Solo's. I'm sure you've all seen the movie. I've tried to stay away from spoilers, but for The Force Awakens, I'm gonna have to spoil a little bit. This is Han Solo's spoilers. Ready? Okay. This is Han Solo's son. I mean, you can't really. It's comparing Darth Maul, which is just a guy, to Han Solo's son. I'm gonna say Darth Maul, because he's more fleshed out right now. We don't know a lot about Kylo Ren yet. His Darth Maul's design is really cool. He was really awesome in the Clone Wars, and he had a cool backstory. So Maul wins for now. All right, let's see. Favorite Star Wars fan film? Oh, I've seen so many fan films that I can't remember the names of. I liked Rebel Base. I think I talked about that in the Star Wars news episode. So Rebel Base. There's so many good ones. I have to really think about this. They have lots of good ones. I might have to make a video about fan films. I like series. They have some good mini series. Like Chad Vader went on for a long time. That was pretty funny for the first few seasons. And then Spaceballs. Someone's talking about thoughts on Spaceballs. I wanted to do a video on that, Nick. But I didn't get to really I didn't get around to it because I couldn't find the footage for it. So I'll probably do a video on Spaceballs at some point. But Spaceballs, I guess, would be my favorite fan film, or Hardware Wars. Hardware Wars is a really fun Star Wars parody. If you haven't seen it, it's the first one that ever came out. That's all fun stuff. Okay. Is there anything you like more than Star Wars? Well, I don't think so. No, not really. I do like Indiana Jones a lot, but I don't think I really like anything more than Star Wars. I do have a whole YouTube channel around it, and I do have lots of things surrounding me that are all Star Wars related. So I'm going to say that Star Wars is number one. All right. Do you have any other hobbies besides Star Wars? Making videos on YouTube. That's my hobby. Yeah, it's mostly centering around Star Wars stuff, but I mean, I like video editing and video production. I'm interested in film a lot. So I mean, that's all cool. Han Solo or Indiana Jones, says Pink Love. Indiana Jones might be better. Indiana Jones is like one of the best movie characters of all time, I think. But I mean, it's Han Solo. It's Han Solo. It's Star Wars. It's Han Solo, but it's Indiana Jones. I don't know. They're both really cool. They're basically on the same level for me. I don't really want to pick because that's just so many decisions about like they're just so amazing. I can't really pick between Indiana Jones and Han Solo. But so yeah, Indiana Jones and Han Solo are both better than each other. Doesn't really work like that. All right, it's about 4. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'll go with one last question. Do you think that Disney has done justice to Star Wars so far? Asks Mike LeBeau. Or Mark LeBeau. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Mark LeBeau. Has Disney done justice to Star Wars? I think so. I think Disney has done justice to Star Wars definitely because they've taken The Force Awakens, which I know is a lot of people have very different opinions on The Force Awakens, but I think it's an amazing movie. They put forth The Force Awakens and said, here's our idea of what Star Wars should be like in the future. And I love that idea. Force Awakens, I think, succeeded on basically every level that it needed to. I think that the amount of stuff that they're putting out, the Star Wars show, which is mostly Lucasfilm, but the Star Wars show came out earlier last week, and there's just a lot of Star Wars stuff that comes out now that I think Disney has been handling well. I don't think they've been necessarily oversaturating the market. I'm sure from an outside view, it seems like it's just Star Wars everything. For me, I think that they're doing the perfect amount of Star Wars, and I think that's really all they need to do to please the fans with the perfect amount of Star Wars, handling it the way that they needed to handle it, and they handled it perfectly. All right. I think that that's going to wrap up this first live stream. This is my first live stream ever. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed it, I want to do more of these types of things. I can unbox more stuff, but today, if you are just joining the live stream now and it's ending, I unboxed Smuggler's Bounty, where I got the IG-88 and I got Boba Fett pops. So thanks to Funko for sending the Smuggler's Bounty box my way. I was excited to do this live stream, and I'm glad that I've gotten it done. And it seems like that a lot of people have joined in, and I'm excited that you guys enjoyed it somewhat. So thanks. Thank you, Ultra K-Man, for waiting for the next one. So great. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. And until we meet again in a galaxy far, far away, this has been StarGeek. See you later.